What's up? How you doing, mate?
Doing good, sir. Doing good. Doing good. All over on this end.
Yeah,
Just
all
chilling.
good, Sean. All good. So when you're coming back, so I was doing some research on you, and I noticed that you hadn't had anything booked for a while, but you seem to be training quite consistently. So what's going on?
Yeah, I've been training flat out. Just had a series of bad injuries there over the last flip. By the time I'd say I get out and fight here now in March and April, it's going to be nearly 2 years out of the game. But still training, as you say, consistent. I've just had a bad run there, with two real bad knee injuries and then broken ribs in the
Oh,
middle of all that, just before I was booked for a fight. But that's all just came from maybe overtraining, preparing too hard. I always hold myself like really accountable, leading up to these fights now in this pro game because I know how brutal they can be in there, and I think maybe that's just led to picking up a few injuries and knocks. Like it's the game we're in, to be honest. Sometimes it's just luck of the draw whether you get injured or not leading up to a fight.
yeah. So will that be in Cage Warriors, or will it be somewhere else?
Potentially March. There's cage conflict here in Belfast, and I'm open to the idea of that. I know I've thrown a few names out to my coaches, and they've been putting out feelers to maybe get a potential matchup on that. But absolutely, April 26th or 25th, it's in Dublin. I would absolutely love to get on that show as well.
So who are you eyeing up? Who would you like to fight?
There's a few middleweights around Ireland, domestic fights that interested me. Since I've kind of been off, they've been rising up through the ranks. Jess Paulo, Brian Manning. I know Graham Sheehan's turning pro. These are all middleweight fights that excite me domestically. In terms of international ones, or on the European circuit, I'm not 100% too sure. I was picked to fight Joe Middleton last year and broke my ribs about 2, 3 weeks out. So I was really excited for that matchup, and I was training super hard. So that's all. That's one I could maybe get down the line as well. I know he's doing good things anyway over in Cage Warriors.
Yeah. So one thing I noticed about you is that you got a really strange nickname, the Voodoo
Yeah.
Child. How'd you get
Uh,
that?
oh well, it was just one that was kind of thrown out. I actually had it. I tried to remove it off that site anyway. I don't really like it too much, but it
Uh,
was thrown out anyway. For one of my fights, and I didn't vibe with it too much, so I wanted to take it away. But just being a big Jimi Hendrix fan, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so I've went through a few of them. At amateur they called me Sugar Sean, but obviously we had
O'Malley.
John O'Malley came into the UFC, so I had to scrap that. So at the moment, my gym knows me as Big Home and Away. That's what they call me with this long hair and the look. But no, at the moment I've got no official nickname, so probably need to get that scrapped off the site.
Yeah, fair enough. As you might know, that we spoke to Oban Elliott last week,
Yes,
and he
seen that.
said that you were his hardest fight to date. So could you tell us what it was like competing against him?
Competing against Oban, just a fun kind of week, all in. Um, so I just came back. I fought 4 times over the span of about 12 months, and my coaches had said to me, "Look, there's a card here in November. Obviously stay in sort of shape for it. Paul Hughes was obviously from our gym was headlining it, so stay in kind of shape for it. But it's looking like we can't get you matched on it. So I did stay in relative shape. I was back from Barcelona with my friends. I was out partying with them like 3 weeks before, and then I came back and had a bit of training leading up to it. But the Wednesday before, I was driving down the training and I seen I had a voice note from a coach, which I thought was strange because I was going to see him anyway in like an hour. And he pretty much just said to me, "Look, there's an opportunity here against Open Elliott and Cage Warriors. Do you want it?" And my response was, "Let me get to the gym and check my weight." Because I'd been living the good life when I was off. So I got into the gym, and I think I was 95 or 96. So yeah, just said let's do it, and just got trucking, getting the weight. That was the biggest fight with that fight was actually getting the weight down, cutting that 11, 12 kilograms over the week. So no, we got to the fight. It was great fighting in the O2. Had fun being in the London hotel and all. But as I say, it was almost like I was so focused on getting that weight cut done. As soon as it was done, I was like, I have to fucking fight Open Elliot here in a day. You know what I mean? In the O2, like it all came around so quick, and even the fight itself just felt like it honestly just felt like a bad sparring day for me. I came out of it, not very. not injured or anything. It just felt a wee bit like just like I had a bad sparring day, if you know what I mean. We had such a good fight in there, and I enjoyed every minute of it. You can see me in the first round, like smiling. And Owen's such a great competitor, and I think that loss has aged well
Yeah.
for especially being the week's notice. I know he did go up the weight class, but I believe he was around 87 or 88 um, going into that fight. And I, at the time, I wasn't the biggest of middleweights. I was up, as I say, I was 95, 96, so I was a big boy. But I fought 2 months before that in August, and I walked in at about 90. So it was 5 or 6 kilograms of probably not the right kind of weight. So
Yeah.
we went in, we had a good fair dig, and he really used his experience in the night, put me in really smart positions down beside his corner team, with his wrestling, and fair play to him. And just a great learning experience and a great experience for me. But I maybe got a little too excited and pulled into the whole fact that I was fighting Oban. I'd seen him 2, 3 months before beat the absolute life out of Matt Bonner, who was the middleweight champ. So I knew going in it was a game fight, and not having that full camp under me, probably I didn't have the full confidence to push the pace I wanted to. So as I said, I came out with that kind of feeling that it was a bad sparring day, because I actually left thinking, flip, I think I had more to give, but I didn't have the confidence to push the way I needed to. And that confidence comes from a hard training camp.
Yeah. So leading on from that, I was going to say, does that give you confidence that you can make it to like the major promotions like the UFC, the
Oh,
PFL, stuff like that?
absolutely. And especially in this game, confidence really is everything. It's what, really separates good fighters to great fighters. So it definitely was. It was a nice little props room. We went back and forth in the matches after. I have a lot of respect for Ruben because he took that fight too. And to jump up the middleweight when you're on the brink of a UFC signing, and potentially can throw it all away, especially in this sport. Like I was a big boy in there, and if one of those shots would have landed cleaner, could have put him out. And you got to give him props for that too. Like that guy will fight any weight, any time. So no, it definitely gives me confidence. I just gotta stay the course. And I've been through a few obstacles in terms of these knee injuries and the ribs, but that stuff is all like calluses that build around the mind. And I can't wait to get back in again. I'm just working my ass off at the moment to get back to where I was just before this knee injury, because before that last knee injury, I was in an unstoppable place. And to be honest, I would have fancied myself against any of the best in the world.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you the reverse. After Oban said that you were his hardest fight, outside of Oban, who would you say was your hardest fight?
Outside of Oban, who was my hardest fight? Ooh, let's see. Um, Outside of Oban, I would say, even though I've took defeats, I took a defeat against a guy, Petru Pleska, big Moldovan guy, just a big Jack Juicehead with good judo, and I fought him in a small cage conflict, and he was a tough matchup for the cage, and especially for my second pro fight. My first pro fight was against the guy Vadim Kalashnikov, and he was just a mad owl, like just real tough. I think he was Latvian, just real. I just felt like I was in there with like a tagger or something. He wasn't the most skillful, but he could just go. He was strong as an ox, and he was a bit of a savage. Like he didn't really care about the rule set. To be honest, he was throwing everything at me. 12 to 6 elbows. I know they're legal now. 12 to 6 elbows into my spine, and grounded knees to the head. So I can blame him, but it also falls on the referee. And I got the win in that fight, but after leaving that fight, I was like, there was so much unnecessary damage after the fight that I would have to say it was probably the hardest fight I've had.
Yeah, I've noticed that the referees let people get away with quite a lot. Like even recently, I was watching the Chandler versus Oliveira. If you watch the fifth
Mm-hmm.
round of that, when Michael
Yeah,
Chandler's trying to get the finish, whack them in the back of the head. It's
yeah,
like surely, like you're a professional ref, you should be able to see this. But
I know. And like for something that can change, one of them shots flashes Oliveira, and then Chandler sinks a choke in. Like I've had it like looking for takedowns in fights, and people be grabbing the cage. That you might have a burst of energy and you try to take that guy down. He stops the cage and it sways. It's like in these top level fights, you watch. one fighter start pulling away and then it comes back again. And that's all it takes sometimes when you're at 50-50. You're trying to get that takedown, a guy's holding onto the cage, he throws an illegal elbow or a knee, and that just pulls the fight away. And it's sometimes you're like, flip, I can at least get away with one of these because the ref's only going to give you a warning.
Yeah. So how did you get into mixed martial arts? Did it start with one particular martial art, or did you watch McGregor? What was it that got you into martial arts?
My father was always big into kickboxing growing up, so he always and he fought himself on the European and world circuit in kickboxing. So we always kind of grew up with photos of him, a lot of his old training gear lying around the house, always taking us on pads and stuff. So I've got a brother who also does MMA. He's an amateur out of our gym, and another middleweight. So we always just grew up with the boxing gloves on and hitting pads and stuff like that. And then I used to play a lot of Gaelic football and would be going to boxing and stuff. So I knew how to handle myself. But yeah, as you say, around the time, I always loved fighting. I loved the showmanship of it. I loved going out and putting on and entertaining fights for the crowd and getting to fight in amazing venues. And when McGregor, I went and watched McGregor live against Mendes, and I knew when he started walking out, I was like, this is what I want to do now. This is what I want to walk out in front of thousands of people and fight a man. Have the most like it can go either way, and that's the beautiful thing of the sport. Like you walk out of there a winner or a loser, but at the end of the day, you have to show up. You gotta put it all on the line, and there's something really beautiful about that in the sport.
Yeah. So what was your dad's name? Kickboxer.
He was Paul McCormac.
Did he ever win any belts? Or
Yeah, he was European champion. I know he was highly ranked in the world, and it was cool. Growing up, we would have like the old videotapes you'd put in, and him going out to fight like these big, massive, Russians, big old Ruskies. So it used to be good to watch him do that. So it's definitely inspired me. And I'd love to put a Cage Warriors world title around him or a PFL world title around him some stage in my life, because at the end of the day, he was such a huge influence for me. So,
yeah. So what's it like training at the fight academy? Is there anyone we should
fighting.
be? Yeah. What's it like training at the fight academy?
Sorry, what were you going to say? You're going to say, is there anyone we should be
I,
looking out for?
I was reading two at the same time.
Oh
I'm a
no,
bit
it's all good.
stupid sometimes. Yeah.
No, it's all good. Fight Academy is amazing. I've been up there now from maybe 2019. So I originally was at a club in Lurgan. Shout out to them, New Era in Lurgan. And my dad actually is the striking and the kickboxing coach out of that gym now. So I started out there in my first three amateur fights, and then to be honest, I went up to the gym and I met Pat McAllister, and he put an absolute beating on me. And as I came back from that session, I had to go and say to him, like, he was kind of Dar Toman was the coach at the time, but also a fighter. And I just went and said to him, look, I need to be at this gym. This gym's where it's at. Because I was kind of the big fish in a small pond at my gym, and then I went up to Fight Academy, and there was like absolute sharks everywhere. At the time, you had like Kyle McClurkin and all. I don't know if you've looked into him, but an amazing fighter. You had Joe McCogan, Paul Hughes was just coming up and joining the gym, and a lot of those guys I knew through my boxing coach, Donald McNally, up in the unit. So it was just the right fit for me, and I really haven't looked back. And over COVID, I got so much work in with him, with a lot of those boys, and that really transformed my game. And that's why when I came out of COVID, I went professional with him. So no, it's amazing gym. It's doing amazing things right now in MMA, and it's just great to be a part of that. And I can't wait until I get back out and fight someone and actually get to show them like all this work that I've been putting in.
Yeah. So you brought up a name that I want to bring up. Paul Hughes fighting
Yeah,
Usman Nurmagomedov, and he's
yes.
from your gym. So the things feel different this time around preparing for a fight of this magnitude.
You would think so, but no. Honestly, it's the same thing. It's the same hard work. It's just that everybody's seeing it. We are all products of stuff we did 90 days ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. And we've been doing this now for a long time at Fight Academy, and we've all known that Paul Hughes is the man for years. He really is magnificent. I've went out to Thailand to train with him for a month here and there. We spent a lot of time with each other. He really is a great guy, and I have complete faith in him. Like I have no doubt in him. I know what he's going to do to this guy. and I just can't wait to see it, and I can't wait for the whole world to see it. But it's amazing. He's opening these like great doors for us. PFL paying absolute top dollar, and I can't honestly can't wait to be a part of it. To be honest, myself to get paid properly because Paul was putting on unbelievable fights, and just he definitely deserved more than what he was getting.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are counting him out this time around, but lots of people counting him out against AJ McKee. Like, I didn't think he was going to be AJ McKee, I'll be honest with you. And the performance he put on against AJ was unbelievable.
Yeah,
Like the knee,
an amazing performance, and the lead up to that fight was like so iffy about was Paul going to make it out to the fight? No, just with how his body was, and he still goes out. I've seen him do this countless times before. Even when he's at 20%, he goes out and he shines. And I just believe, I actually personally thought that AJ McKee was a tougher stylistic matchup than this one. And I think because it's got the Magomedov name, there's such a hype and fear built around it. But you'll see just how high level Fight Academy is. You'll see how high Paul Hughes is. You'll see how high Shando and Pat are. Like what they bring to this game is amazing, and it is on the level of a Khabib. So it's about time we get to show it.
yeah, he could have ended that fight as well against AJ in the first with that knee.
Yes, literally. That
But
another 10 seconds, that fight's over. But props to AJ McKee. Like took that knee and he came out in the second, and it was a close second and a close third. And but Paul clearly won the fight. Like
yeah, I was
which
surprised they read
you
it as a split. I thought Paul took the first and the third really
yeah.
convincingly.
When you're watching it live and you see that, you see the split, you're like absolutely
Here we
brilliant.
go.
Thinking, oh, here we go. Like because I remember watching him against Vucenic in the first fight they had together, and the split went towards Vucenic, and like you know, I can be so critical, like training with Paul, like we all are critical because we invest so much time into each other, and like I 100% thought he won that fight against
Yeah,
Vucenic, and I seen that, but look, he just came back and he
got it back.
conquered after that, so and I believe that's what he's going to do here in PFL.
Yeah. So the betting odds got released, I think it was yesterday, and they had him as a plus 575 underdog, which I think
Oosh.
is absolutely bizarre. I thought he would open at like plus 300 at the worst.
That's
But
that's interesting. I didn't know that, but I'm definitely going to be sticking some money on that
yeah,
for sure. I know, yeah, a little bet does no harm, and I hear that's good. That's worth a tenner at least. Like,
yeah. So are
yeah,
you an avid watcher of the UFC?
I would watch it. Yeah, I would still watch and tune into the cards. I maybe wouldn't stay like I wouldn't focus on it too much on like the social media side of it. The odd time I would, but I definitely tune in to watch all the fights. There's always something to be learned from watching them fights, and it's hard to beat what a sport it is. You've got to be watching it because you'll see what's working, what's not working.
Is the highest level.
It really is.
Yeah. Because I want to get your prediction on the main card of 311. We've been asking everyone
311.
this. Yeah, so we've got Kevin Holland versus Reina Dorita.
Kevin Holland. Ooh, I haven't. What was that other guy's name? Reina.
Reina Dorita.
I haven't watched much of him. I'll have to pick Kevin Holland on that because I haven't seen much of the other guy.
Yeah.
Kevin Holland's a dog, and he's got that big slinky one too, so he can pluck you from anywhere realistically.
Yeah. Or about Benil Dariush versus Renato Moicano.
Ooh. Do like Dariush. I feel like if people start fast on him, he struggles a wee bit. We've seen that with Oliveira come out and put it fast on him. But I'll give Benil. He's a great fighter. I think he's just on the cusp of that. Like he might even be in the top five. I don't know with the rankings, but I feel like he's just on the cusp of being at like that top five of that lightweight. So and he's been there a while now. So yeah, probably him.
We've got Jiri Prohaska versus Jamal Hill.
Oh, funny. I was looking at this because I seen the two main fights, and obviously not from the Magomedov's team, but the bookies odds were so high on them. So I was like looking at that, thinking, flip, you could make money on this with the two upsets, the two underdogs. And I looked at that Yuri fight in Jamal, and I was like, that is a real pick'em of a fight. I feel I'll probably go Jamal. I think he's got more to prove coming back from that knockout to Alex. And like when he kind of he's got a bit of an awkward style to watch, but he's clean with it. Like he's got good boxing, good peeps, and I don't see Yuri trying to wrestle him to be honest. So
All right, now the co-main: Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov.
look, I want to go Marab. I think Marab's going to get it done, put the pace on. Plus, it's out of the same team as what Paul's fighting, so I think yeah, I'll give it to Bilal and or Marab. Sorry, and that
Well,
I'm saying Bilal. I'm sticking to the
similar
whole game
style.
now.
Yeah. What about the main event? Islam Makhachev versus Armin Saryukin.
Ooh, Islam's on a good tour at the moment. Like he's doing really good work and he's finishing high level guys. Like he finished Poirier, but the Poirier fight was close, and I just don't know if Poirier is kind of he's slowly on the edge out of his career now. He's been around so long. Like it really amazes me the longevity of some of these fighters when I know how brutal it is doing this day in day out. Um, hmm, I don't know. It's a real pick 'em to be honest. I maybe say Islam because I think he's just on one at the moment.
Yeah. I got two more for you. So, what do you
Right.
think is the most memorable moment you've had in the gym or in your martial arts career?
In the gym or in the gym. In my martial arts career, probably when I fought in Wales, I was coming out fighting the guy Owen Williams. Took that on 3 weeks' notice. Had a guy pull out on me before cage conflict, so I took that and I was fighting in Abbeville, and he was a local guy. So I walked out and the place was silent. You know, it wasn't even like I was being booed. It was just me and Jerry Rafferty's right down the line playing, and I just strutted out to it, and it just felt so surreal. That and the whole fight just felt like a dream. Even when I was out during the fight, I just was in such a flow state. And so that would probably be my most favorite moment. And you know, getting the yellow gloves, something that I'd always like been obsessed with growing up, watching the sport. I always wanted a pair of them. So that was kind of unique and special to me. In the gym, I'm trying to think, so many. The gym's wild. It's been so amazing over the years getting to train with some of the greats, you know, like Joe McColgan and all out of our gym. But I think we had a real special moment there recently at our Christmas awards. Ryan Curtis came back. He had a horror fan injury. I don't know if you've seen that. Last year on the mats with us, was nearly paralysed and was told he wasn't going to walk again. But he walked back onto the mat to pick up Fighter of the Year award after being told he wasn't going to walk again. So you know it's hard not to pick that as a
Yeah.
stand-up moment for me recently, because it gives me such motivation. Like you know, any little niggle or injury you have, like this guy's fighting was fighting for his life at one stage. So it's really incredible.
Yeah. The last thing I want to ask is that anyone we should be keeping an eye on, ready for a big breakthrough from your gym?
Big breakthroughs. Let me see. Got a good cusp of amateurs coming up. A lot of guys. Guy Owen Masoliver, very very good. James Slavin is another really good amateur. On the pro ranks, I think Matthew Elliott, even though he was 2-0 last year in Cage Warriors, like that's a guy who every time I'm up training with him, I just see him getting more and more fine polished. He has the mindset. He's an absolute dog, strong as a bull, and he's really put his time and craft in the learning, you know, mixed martial arts, and I'm really excited to see what he can do. But no, there's so many now in that gym. It's hard. You're fighting for attention sometimes, you know, with the coaches. God damn it, there's that many amazing athletes. So uh, I don't know how them two boys do it, like, because they really do give their time out to all of them, and you know they've got coaches now um, and you know Aidan Devlin, and like these boys are coming up and they're helping along with it. As long as Adam McGarty as well, you know the Chocolate Man. So these boys are really helping, you know, take the load off them too. But you know, there's a lot of guys in that gym that you should be looking forward to seeing.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, mate. Anyways, it was nice
Appreciate it.
speaking to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I'll see you later. Anyways, thank
Yes,
you.
bro.
Thank you. Bye.